Welcome, Matt here, and I want to give you a little sort of display 6A. We're looking at this longer lesson in the Total Drum Academy where we were exploring 6/8 rhythms with display snares, putting snares in some crazy places. I'm going to chuck this one to you because I think there's a bit of scope to have fun with it. So there's the sheet music you can see on the screen, hopefully, and we're just going to explore this one pattern in just a few minutes. So you heard me playing it there. So I was playing it alongside your standard 6/8, which you feel it as two lots of three. So like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's pretty standard. As soon as we start moving the snare around, it becomes something else. It doesn't feel like 6/8 anymore. It can quite quickly feel unrecognizable, as if maybe it's even odd time. All right, so what we're going to look at here is quite syncopated. We've got snares and basses falling in all of those 16th note positions between the 8th note hi-hat, so that like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and in those positions. Now if we just remove that bass drum at the beginning for a moment, remove it, right? What's actually happening is hat, snare, hat, bass. So it's this 4-note phrase, 1 E and if I count it as 16th notes, 1 E and that happens 3 times. So although we're in the 6/8 time signature, it suddenly starts to feel a bit like 3/4 counted as 16th notes. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and okay, which adds up the same mathematically, 3, 4 and 6/8. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and And in fact, if we just take a small portion of that, if I were to say, let's see, that bass drum there, that hi-hat and that snare, and you could repeat that for the next 4 notes as well. If I went from there, we'd go, and that just sounds like a ska beat in 4/4, doesn't it? 1 and 2 and 3 So within this little groove, within this bar, it's implying some different things in there. The brain might be taken into a couple of different places, which is why, or a big part of why this actually sounds quite interesting. But to play the full pattern, we've got to put that bass back in on the first beat. So we're going to go like this. And I'll count this as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and right. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and. Do it again, and I'll loop it. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 1. So that's it. Sounds kind of weird on its own. So this might be a nice little turnaround in 6/8. Let me give you an example. So we've got our groove. We're playing 6/8. Everyone knows where they are. Standard. You know, like a little end of the section instead of a fill. So that's quite fun. So then a couple of developments that came out of that when we were exploring it deeper in that longer lesson. In 6/8, I quite often like to accent every other hi-hat. So you get this sort of sound. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2. Which again implies a 3/4 vibe because you're accenting every other note. So like 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and play that as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if we add that element into this pattern, we're going to get 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1. And if I do that in the standard groove, Okay, so see that's starting to sound quite interesting. Okay, now you could play it as a fill. So what if I was, if I play a standard 6/8 on the groove, and then on the ride as a groove on the ride, and then I'll put the snare notes from this example written up here. I'll put it on the toms. You know, so that could be quite fun. And the last little thing I want to show you with this is, you might have noticed that I started doing the ride bell thing. So it's just the same concept on the hi-hats, where we went accented every other beat. Same here, but accenting by playing it on the bell. So like bell to non-bell, you know. So I was doing that within that the beat there and the fill. But then if we take the same concept and we do, there's effectively there's 3 snare drums, right? So if we do the first snare on the high tom, the second one actually on the snare, and the third one on the floor tom, and I apply this ride pattern, it gives it a bit of an almost Latin feel. So let's try that as a groove. Okay, so that's kind of fun. And if I heard that with no context, I probably wouldn't automatically jump to 6/8. It doesn't sound like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, but it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It still is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It still is 6/8. It just doesn't sound like it. So I think 6/8 is a really fun time signature. A lot of the time, that's the groove. That's what the song needs. But sometimes you can sprinkle in some spice, and maybe this is some spice for you. Maybe this is it. You can throw that in, as I say, little turnaround in the groove, or move it around the kit a bit, or even go into that kind of Latin-esque type vibe as a groove as well. So you can have some fun with it. There's other ways you can explore this. So take the basic pattern, have some fun with it, get it down, and see if you can explore it. And if you like this, like, subscribe, all of that, and I will see you next time.